And did a track called Cocteau Twins. Their last album was called 4 Calendar Cafe in '94. Since then, there's been an EP and an award-winning short film just before Christmas, and they also featured on some rather wacky soft drinks ads, as well as a soundtrack to Sly Stallone's very awful Judge Dredd. I think they're ashamed of themselves. As you can see, they're going to play a track from their forthcoming album, Milk and Kisses. Before that, though, it's nice to say hello to you in person. How are you doing? You fine?
Very well, thank you.
Are you ashamed of being involved with Judge Dredd, Liz?
Well, I am a little, only because of what everyone else has said. I've not seen it and I don't intend to. But it's a great, I love the song, and you know, you can't get your foot in the door, man. You can't get your foot in the door.
The song was abused, Liz. The song was abused. Are you very particular about allowing, you know, certain people to use your songs and certain people not
generally, but I mean, you wouldn't have thought so, would you, after, you know, Judge Dredd. But I mean, the thing is, like, you get sent these little clippets of a film and you get asked about it months and, well, almost years before the film ever comes out, so you don't really ever know what it's going to be like. You know, I remember we got sent the script to Blue Velvet, and when we read it, you know, it's like, oh, God, that looks terrible, because it was just after Dune, which was a real flop, and David Lynch was like a bit of a nobody at the time. Right. It was like, oh, Blue Velvet's going to be a terrible film. Of course, like, when we turned it down, who is it? It turns out to be one of the greatest films ever made.
And
you know?
with a fantastic soundtrack, yeah.
Large egg on the face.
I saw the, I went and did a set report on Judge Dredd, and I saw, you know, a compilation of clips, and it did look amazing. 1 minute 30 seconds worth of clips, but in fact they'd taken every 10 seconds worth of goodness out of that film and stuck it together. So it should have been a 1 minute 30 film. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Not really.
No, it's not that interesting. Is that an area you'd like to go into more?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I definitely think, I mean, people have said it over the years, on and on and on, that our music would be very suitable, you know, for cinematic expansions, and I think, well, I don't know where that came from, but I got lost for a word. Well, anyway, let's go back.
So where do we catch you guys at the moment then? Since the post 4 AD period, Liz, what happened there? Why? I mean, you always associated what you did with 4 AD, and suddenly...
You did, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, well,
I didn't. I certainly didn't.
Right. So what, I mean, you don't have to go into the nitty-gritty details of what went wrong, but how have you changed since that period? Has there been a shift in emphasis?
I just think we take better care of ourselves, actually. I mean, a lot of stuff went down. We learned a hell of a lot being on that label, because, well, for a start, we didn't have a manager, so there was no one, you know, being a buffer between people. And so everything was it just all got very personal. And
yeah, because it was like in the early days, it was a family-oriented label, wasn't it? You didn't need a manager because he seemed to do everything for the
It seemed like that on the outside, but it wasn't like that at all. It wasn't like that at all. You know, we were not specifically friendly with any of the groups on there. You know, and I think the whole 4 AD thing was blown out of all proportion. It got perceived as this sort of communistic ideal of, you know, everybody looking after each other, and you know, the success of one benefiting the development of another. And I just think that's rubbish at the end of the day. It doesn't work. Yeah, you know, and we've suffered as a result of it. And our communication as a group was pretty useless, has to be said.
But the material coming out at that time was still pretty of the highest order. I mean, it wasn't affecting what you were writing.
No, I think very few things do, funnily enough.
And what about since? Do you feel liberated since you're free of them?
We're more free of ourselves, which is, that's a bit of an odd thing to say, and I'm not sure how to explain myself there. Yeah, it's over to Simon!
Well, the irony was that, you know, people assumed that we had so much control at 4 AD. Yeah. We have much more now than we ever had before. Much more. Almost too much. Yeah. And it's like you'd have to sort of check every single photograph and picture and, you know, this and that. It's a bit of a pain sometimes, but I mean, it's much better to be like that, to have things turning up that you know, you didn't realise was,
of course. Well, before this interview, my hair was combed that way, but you wouldn't have it, so it had to be combed that way. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's real important stuff.
Yeah, not really, no, but I'll just go along with you just for the sake of the interview.
No, there's a mass of equipment here which we don't expect to normally see. But, you know, we kind of think of you as a three-piece, if that's the right way to look. Of course, the last tour there was a bundle of you on that stage, but this is currently a five-piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, at the moment, that's what we want to do. I mean, we could do things, just the three of us, but I mean, you have to think, in the studio, we do play a lot of instruments together. You know, there's pianos, there's acoustic guitars, electric guitars, maybe 2 or 3 basses on each track. It's impossible to even try to recreate that. I mean, even with 7 people, we could have had a couple more, you know, to play the songs like they are on the record. But we're not at that stage just now where we want to recreate the album. So we just want to sort of do something completely different.
It always felt kind of like a studio project. Do you actually enjoy playing live, Is it something?
Oh yeah. I mean, nobody's got a gun to our head. We really want to do it when we do it. We don't do it that often compared to, other bands. But
surely the sheer technicality.
But we're ready for it. We're really. By the time you do it again, you're so excited because you're tired of the studio life. You're tired of that one existence, and you need.
You're tired of each other.
Well, oh no, you are at the end of it too.
We are at the end of it too. We certainly were at the end of the last one. 7 months we was away, and that's the longest we've ever done.
How do you feel about the whole project at the moment? You feel good? You feel up about it?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
I think we're writing better music than we've. It's the best music we've ever done. I think it just gets better and better.
Well, that's a very positive way of describing it, Liz. You're going to play something for us today, aren't you?
Yep.
That's why this equipment's here, in fact.
In fact, yep. Not acoustically, but just as a band, yep.
And what is that?
It's a track called Seekers Who Are Lovers.
Okay, so...